Diego Guerrero. I am 20 years old, and I'm excited to look for as many scholarship opportunities as I can today.
Nice. Are you currently in college?
Yes, I'm currently in college.
Where do you go?
I go to Sacramento State or CSU Sacramento.
Oh, nice. Okay, you're not that far from San Diego. I thought like different state
Oh,
completely.
no, not different states or anything. Probably not enough for
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
like a drive down, but
Obviously, no,
enough for
no.
like, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so my first question is, do you feel like there's a talent or a skill that you possess that you feel like not a lot of people know about you?
I would say, I would just say, I guess, like how much of a quick learner I am. Like, I don't know. Whenever I do any task or anything that requires like skill, or I guess you could say like talent or expertise or dexterity and all like that,
Mhm.
I I always kind of like see around me. It's like, oh, these people are having like a harder time picking up on it when it's really easy for me to pick up on it. But I guess that's also because of like I have a lot of experience in different fields. So it's like when it comes to things like Excel, or even when I was learning how to embroider or learning how to learn computer systems, I just like to
Mhm.
learn exactly how they work and like learn how they function, and I guess try to like maximize efficiency in my own movements and the way I do things. So
Yeah.
it kind of ends up with me like learning it a lot quicker because it's like a game to me almost when I learn something new. It's like, why wouldn't I want to play it the best I can, you know?
Yeah, very cool. Is that what you're in school for, like computer science?
No, I'm in school for mechanical engineering. It's just one of the facets of being a mechanical engineer.
Cool. Very cool. Is that something you like decided to do later on, or have you always wanted to go into that field, like engineering in general?
It was actually pretty funny. I've only ever really wanted to be two things in my life. When I was like a little kid, I wanted to be a doctor. Like that was my thing. Is I wanted to be like this, like a surgeon, or I don't know, like primary physician. But then like in sixth grade, we had a career fair at our school, and from then on, like I had we had doctor was one of the choices, and it just did not click with me. I was like, oh, this is kind of boring actually.
Yeah.
And then one of them was a nano engineer, and then ever since then, I just like fell in love with like mechanics in general. Like like I work on my car. I've built my own PC. I like to work on just general things. Like I have my own little mini like it's a six-cylinder engine set that I built. Like just stuff like that. I just love learning how things work and then
Very
building them
cool.
myself.
Very, very cool. Okay, so I guess this is a good segue to my next question is do you feel like there's an accomplishment or like a personal project that you're really proud of working on?
I've done a couple of things, but I wouldn't consider them to be like overtly like, oh my goodness, this is like the accomplishment of my life. Like I was very proud whenever I would like whenever I built my PC, or
Hmm.
whenever I like would like take apart the vacuum cleaner at our house and like put it back together. But
Yeah.
as far as like big projects, I guess one thing I could say that I'm excited about, but it hasn't happened yet, is I'm looking into getting a like 3D printers so that way I can start designing new items for things like around my house.
Very cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, that's an exciting personal project. If even if it doesn't hasn't happened yet, it's very cool that you're interested in that and you it's good to be creative in that sense. So that's good that you are able to kind of hone that in.
Hmm.
Um, my next question is so you are in school currently, but obviously everyone has a different definition to what education means. What do you feel like it means to you?
I feel like education is it's an accumulation of knowledge, but it means nothing to me unless I know what I'm talking about.
Mm,
Like whenever I'm in my classes, my favorite thing to do to learn or to educate myself is to teach others when I've learned something new in the class, because to me, I if I can't explain to somebody how something works in our class, then I haven't learned myself. I haven't educated myself in that topic. So that's kind of like that's kind of one thing I always look for, like always look for when if I know I'm educated on something, is if I could teach it and have a working knowledge on like why it works.
Yeah, because it's like just having, you know, a brief synopsis of what it is not really like you having knowledge about it, but teaching others is how you kind of learn more. At least in my experience, that's how I've always studied, is like in study groups. I like to like be the one that's like, oh, this is how you do this, how you do that, and that's how I usually
Yeah.
feel good about taking the test. So I completely get that.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. No, keep. Do you have anything to say?
Oh, yeah. I was gonna say like I remember there's this one quote. It's like I'm not sure if it was from Einstein or somebody smart. They said, if you can't explain a subject to that of like a 6-year-old, then do you truly know that subject? You know, because everything
Yeah.
builds off of other things. Like, oh, if somebody doesn't know what a derivative is, you teach them what a continuation is. If they don't know what a continuation is, you teach them what a graph is. If you don't know what a graph is, you start teaching them how to do this and this. You learn how to, all the way down to like learning how to read or learning how to speak or learning how to comprehend knowledge in general. So it's like there's building blocks to everything to where you could teach somebody who has never heard about a subject, and that's how you know you truly comprehend what you're learning.
Yeah. No, that's a perfect way of putting it. I love that. Do you feel like there's a topic or a skill that you wish would be taught in schools that isn't?
Definitely. I would say that one skill, which is like integral if you're trying to get into like a field like mine, which requires a college education, would be for like specifically high schoolers, teaching them about programs like Assist, where they could learn how to do a dual enrollment course for their local community college to not just get credit so they don't have to go to certain high school classes or to graduate early, but so that way when they enter their college education, they have all the classes that like
Mm-hmm.
honestly people don't really want to take, but they have to take like general education classes or even have a foot in the door to graduate early from college to save them on that future cost. Like that's one thing I definitely wish I knew about. So that way, because I did dual enrollment in high school along with JC classes during the summer, and I wish I was taught more about what classes I could take to further my education instead of just taking college classes for the sake of taking college classes.
Yeah, no, I know. It is a program that is, well known, but I feel like people don't take advantage of it, like
Yeah.
especially in high school. Because I remember I took a few of like my general education classes that I would have had to take like in my 4-year, career.
Yeah.
But I took them while I was in high school because really you don't have that much of a load in high school, so why not take on like a extra class that's 2 days a week? So I completely agree with you on that. Okay, tell me about someone that you feel like has really left an impact on your life and why.
I would say somebody who's left a big impact on my life would be, I guess it's kind of easy to say, but it'd be my father,
Mm-hmm.
mostly because it's his work ethic that really gets me. Because it's like, I know that some days where it's like, oh, I just would not have gone to class because like I'll have a little bit of a tummy ache. But then there's my dad who's literally like, he could be spitting up blood, but as long as my mom didn't need him to be home to help out with anything, he would like go to work. He just put on a mask and he would just go to work because he's like, well, like work is work, you still got to do it. And he's
Yeah.
just a really big work ethic. He could be like super sick and then he'll still have like the energy to like, let's say like go on a family trip, but he's just like, oh, I'll just isolate myself. But so that way everybody can be together as a family. Like he has a really strong drive, which I really admire and has really helped me when I'm like in a tough situation to kind of like just keep pushing forward, even if it's like one step at a time, because then you're going to feel better later and then you'll already be at your destination.
Yeah, exactly. Do you feel like you've kind of mastered his work ethic or like are getting there?
I'm definitely trying to get there. I think a big part of it is also like learning how to master our pride, because I feel like that's a
Mm,
big issue with me. It's like I'm too prideful sometimes to be like, oh well, I think I'm sick, and it's like if I think I'm sick, then that should be good enough to just not go to work or to not go to class and stuff like that. But it's to kind of like be like, this is beyond me.
yeah.
Like,
Like there's always something you got to do. So like wake up.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's like there's not just you in your life.
exactly. No, I love that. And that's always great to have someone that is in your life that kind of teaches you that. Um, because kind of learning that on your own can be a little bit daunting, but that's great that you got to skip a step. um, do you feel like there's like a cause or a social issue that you're really passionate about?
I'm very passionate about well, personally I'm religious. I'm Catholic, so that's something I'm very passionate about. I guess you could say it's not really political, I guess.
Yeah.
And I guess the way you want to look at it. My cat ran into the room. Okay. But yeah, that's something I am very passionate about. I'm part of the council for my youth group back in Sacramento State. So
Oh,
I help put on events and stuff for the church.
nice.
So that's something I'm very passionate about. Generally, though, I wouldn't say that there's an exact like movement or like
Yeah.
a group that has really like given me a lot of passion. There's things I definitely like agree with and would be like, oh yeah, you're right, but not much that has given me much drive at least.
No, that's completely fair. Do you feel like there's like a certain challenge that you have kind of had to overcome over the years?
Oh, definitely. I would say in the beginning of my college career, I thought that everything was a race, and if I graduate early, it's all the better. But then I didn't really realize, like, the whole saying, like, C's get degrees, or it's like, oh, everybody does terrible in engineering school. But it's
Yeah.
like, I feel like it's just like those things where it's like the loudest in the room is heard the most. It's like the people who complain the most or be like, oh, I did bad. And so everybody must be doing bad. But there's like other people I see who really inspire me and are like, it's not that hard, but you have to put in the work and you have to schedule yourself, especially for this rigorous course that we're taking. So
Right.
one thing I had to learn was to kind of like I said, set aside my pride and learn that I don't owe, like, as long as I'm there and I'm trying, I don't have to take 5 or 6 classes a semester to prove that, even if it might take me just graduating all 4 years. Because
Yeah.
then I'm like, oh, I'm like failing. I fail a class, or I get all C's in my classes that semester, and it doesn't benefit me at all. And it's like, what? Why are you in a rush for? Because then it might end up stumbling, and you have to take a whole another year.
Yeah. No, that's us. That's something that a lot of people don't realize is like if your goal is to finish in 3 years, that goal might not be able to kind of, work its way through, and then you'll have to repeat it anyway, and you're just going to be more behind. So take your time. It's not a race. Everyone's on
Mhm.
their own pace. And when you leave college, the real world sometimes is daunting and scary. So college is a nice safe space. So have those 4 years. Um, my kind of last question, and then I'm going to open up the floor for you to talk about whatever you feel like you want to include in your application. But my last actual question is obviously this isn't like a standard application process. You're not usually having a type of conversation with a person. And usually you would submit an essay or GPA requirements, things like that. In a standard application where you're kind of limited to a specific word count, what do you feel like usually gets left out for you that you wish could be showcased more?
I think one thing that is not able to be showcased a lot of the time due to like limiting factors in an application, especially for things like scholarship, is I guess limiting factors in our lives.
Mm,
Like not everything is so clear cut and black and white as to, oh, this happened, therefore this is how it is.
yeah.
Like for example, when it comes to like cost, it's like my family should have enough money to be able to like put all of our kids to college if they really had put to it, but there was limiting circumstances during certain times. Like we've been a part of a lot of different phases in like California in general, but also just in my own personal life, like the fires or COVID
Mm,
or the new introduction of like we're an eight family household, so
yeah.
it's like
Wow.
every penny goes to helping everybody out, not just like the one kid who's in college. So
Yeah.
I definitely think like being able to explain those limiting factors, it helps a lot because it kind of brings a more human sense to the person you're like judging for an award of some sort.
Yeah. No, I completely I agree with that. I think a lot of application processes need to be more humanized because
Mhm.
it's hard to gauge like what someone's going through, how someone is speaking through just words on a paper because like at least for me, how I read like different entries, different books is the same way, and that's may not be how someone meant for me to read it. So I definitely agree with you on that. Do you feel like there's anything you kind of want to share or elaborate on that you spoke about?
I would say some of the things that I would definitely want to not emphasize, but kind of bring up or just like bring into consideration would be, like I said, like with my family, we have like a big family, and it can sometimes be very daunting financially.
Yeah.
That's why like I've been trying to do my best to look for like for the past like for the weeks I've been off a winter break, I've just been like using my free time to look for scholarships whenever I can. Like I currently have like I couldn't even count how many tabs open on my browser just looking for them and like writing them down and writing down deadlines and due dates just so that way I don't have to like look for them again, and so that way I can put that money aside so I don't have to put my family through that strain. There was like a lot of yeah. There's also the other limiting circumstances like I said, other than just having a big household, there's also like we have two of my younger sisters who are diagnosed with autism, so it takes up a lot of time and financial aid. Thankfully, my mother has been able to like be paid as like a healthcare provider for them, but it's a lot, especially with like the introduction of like my new baby sister, and then my family also helps support my grandmother who's currently in the hospital.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, and it's just like I said, there's a lot of limiting circumstances. That's like I just want to like put out there my intent and my I guess me trying to power through everything to get as much as I can out of anything I can, you know, at this current moment.
No, I mean, it's amazing that you are kind of very selfless in that sense. You want to be, you know, not an extra, like, not say burden, but like someone that your family has to kind of think about. You want to be able to stand on your own 2 feet. And that's something that's very admirable. Especially you are still very young. So that is something that I know is probably very difficult on your, like mental health and your life in general. So although I don't know what that life may feel like, I still am able to kind of sympathize with you, but also be very, what's the word? I'm very impressed by the way that you've kind of been able to carry on with life. And I hope that we can help you in whatever way we can. Or if you don't end up winning this round, you can always reapply. Or I hope you win every other scholarship that you have been applying to.
I very much appreciate that.
Yeah. Is there anything else you want to share?
I think I've mentioned everything that I would like to mention.
Perfect. Well, it was my pleasure speaking to you. I had a great time. I hope that this was a comfortable experience for you, and that you enjoy this over a standard application.
I definitely do. It's definitely a nice change of pace. When I first saw it, I was like a little confused. I was like, what the heck? Like, where do I just type in my essay? But it felt a lot more human. It felt a lot more like genuine.
Hey YouTube, if you enjoyed this person's story, don't forget to subscribe below to hear more from our inspiring youth. If you want to apply for our Storyteller Scholarship or get more involved in our organization, click the link below to apply. Thanks for watching!